This is Richard Burgon. He's come down to lend his support to the nurses. Why are you here today?
Well, I'm here today. I'm the Member of Parliament for Leeds East. I'm here today to show my support for the nurses who've been forced to take strike action to get fair pay. They shouldn't have to take strike action to get fair pay. They deserve fair pay as a right. They were applauded through the pandemic, but applause doesn't pay the bills. The service is being stretched, they're being undervalued, underpaid, and it's right that we support the nurses in their fight for fair pay, in their fight to maintain the service in any way we can. So that's why I'm here today.
How are we going to get Steve Barclay to sit down with the nurses and talk? Because we know, don't we, all disputes, a row with the missus, the neighbour next door, your kids at work, wars, they all end in talking. How do we get that man to sit down and talk?
Well, I think it's quite incredible that he hasn't talked already. You know, the leadership of the RCN was very clear that they wanted talks about pay, and if so, it could have been the case that the strikes were postponed to allow those talks about pay. But they point blank refused. In Prime Minister's question time, the Prime Minister point blank refused, and they've chosen the path, I'm afraid, the government, the path of confrontation, not negotiation. The government should do its job, do the responsible thing, get round the table and pay our nurses and our NHS staff and public sector workers in general properly. It's their duty to do that. They should do it.
The question is, what would Labour do?
Well, what I've been arguing for, and I'm not on the Labour front bench, but as a Labour MP...
I think Wes will excuse you.
I've been arguing for a pay rise for nurses that's fair, and that could be very easily funded. Rishi Sunak's going round claiming that to give a inflation matching pay rise for all public sector workers would cost £28 billion. Economists and experts have shown now that it would cost less than half that. If, for example, we equalise capital gains tax with income tax, that would allow us to fund this very, very easily. Actually, an inflation matching pay rise for public sector workers across the board. The money's there, the government can afford it. It's a political choice not to do so. I think it's really important that politicians like myself and people from other unions as well, as they are doing, support the nurses in their fight for fair pay. They shouldn't have to be striking for fair pay, but they've been left with no other option.